welcome to this week's broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble in Overwatch. We're broadcasting live from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. You can see our lovely production team back there. It is time for the conclusion of the first week of the Esports Tower Winter Overwatch Rumble. The ET Everests have already locked up a spot in the grand finals, but who will join them? Tonight we have our final group of stage games. The Fire Islands, the Monsoons, and Meridian Tech all have a chance to grab the second grand final spot. Who will join the Everests in tonight's grand finals? I'm your host, Colby D'Angelo Alloway, and joining me to call all of the action is Brenner Bear Ladd. So tonight we have a lot of teams. So other than the Everests, who are you looking out for? Who do you expect to come out into this grand finals with them?
So out of the 4 teams we have playing tonight, I'm definitely keeping my eyes on the Fire Islands, especially after last week of them going from a team that hadn't won a match to defeating Meridian Tech, who has taken rounds off the Everest. So they have definitely put in a ton of work over winter break, and I think that has been proof in the pudding of how well they've improved. So now going into this week of the Rumble and how they might be going up against those same opponents and what they might have learned from the previous, I expect them to go very far in this matchup.
So the Fire Islands are the team to look out for here. What do you think about Meridian Tech, the team that's taken off a couple of maps off of the Everests?
I mean, they definitely have a ton of room to improve. That we've seen evidence of that from last week. And it's also a team that we have very near and dear to our heart, and a team that we work very closely with to try to help and improve so that maybe some of their players might be able to join our roster one day. So I do hope we see a huge improvement from them this week, especially after the hard loss they had last week. They might have been able to learn a couple new things after watching that VOD, bringing together and formulate a better team composition, and players might improve their skill as well, especially after the patch that changed ever so slightly. We might see a little bit more of the Reinhardt shatter kills incoming.
The 200 damage definitely helps get those eliminations that all of these teams are looking for. And some keys to the games, specifically Doc's keys, that will be able to help out all of the teams tonight are in Overwatch. Doc's keys that will help out all of the teams tonight are presented today by Esports Tower. Doc's keys to the game in Overwatch: you need to understand your comp, understand your play style. This is something that the Fire Islands have been working really hard towards, specifically in Brawl. And you need to focus on each individual fight, because each individual fight has impact and can be the difference between you winning and losing a game. Get good ult value. It's not just an ability that you have on cooldown. You need to work to charge it, and you need to use it. You can't just sit on it indefinitely. And the objective is greater than the kills. No matter how good of a player you are, it doesn't matter if no one's pushing the cart. These Doc's keys to the game are presented today by Esports Tower. Score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. And tonight for our matchup, we have the ET Everest versus Meridian Tech. These are both very dominant teams. The Everests have gone undefeated so far, but Meridian Technical has been one of the few teams to take maps off of the Everests in some of our previous fall rumbles before. And speaking of the fall rumbles, ET Everest took second place with Meridian just at third, so there's a bit of a rivalry there. And if there's anybody that's going to be able to take the map off of the Everest, it's going to be Meridian Technical. So it's time to kick off the night with ET Everest taking on Meridian Tech. Meridian Tech needs to win to keep their hopes up for the grand finals appearance alive, but can they get the upset that they need when the Everests have been so dominant in the Winter Rumble so far? Walk me through this defense here, Brenner. What are we setting up for on the defending side?
Yeah, they're definitely trying to have that high ground, especially with the Hanzo and Doomfist and Ana. They want to have that high ground to be able to heal their team and dish out as much damage to pick off the squishies in the backline. Whereas on the attack, they also have the Pharah Widow, so hopefully we see a Mercy coming in with that Pharah. Well, she's going to get picked out of the sky, and of course it's going to be Daydream on that Mercy, being that Mercy main. But already the first 2 eliminations going over to the side of the Everest is a great start for this defense.
We have Fem Neptune on the Pharah, which occasionally they'll pull out as normally they are on the Reinhardt. Big Boofus going to get that Roadhog pick onto Pando. Panda Squad is going to go ahead and eliminate Fem Neptune on the Pharah there. Diamond Dog's going to eliminate King Swiffer, and Daydream follows right after that. Chum is Fun going to pick up Big Boofus. Looks like Panda Squad is the price here, but that's a complete Meridian Technical team wipe over there.
Yeah, Meridian Technical tried to match him. Bonesaw on the Doomfist 1v1 did end up pulling it out, but sadly, Diamond Dog was there with the refrag because the Winston can actually keep up with the Doomfist very well. So now going to Meridian Technical's next push, they're leading forward with their main tank fight.
And it looks like Daydream's going to be the first one to go. Not ever what you want to see, but Big Boofus even set up with the pick on the not Doomfist. Pando and Bonesaw coming in with eliminations onto Meridian Tech. Bonesaw going to get that final elimination onto Eternal Flame in the Doomfist versus Doomfist, and Trum's Fum is going to pick up Soup. And Panda Squad is going to go ahead and pick up Big Boofus as the last man standing for Meridian Technical, and that's another team wipe. The Everest holding in dominating fashion. What's working for them, Brenner?
It's definitely got to be Bonesaw on that Doomfist, seeing as he has the first ult for the DPS. We know that the Everest are also waiting for that Nano Blade from Panda Squad and not Doomfist on his defense, but it seems that with Soup engaging, things aren't off to a good start.
Soup gets the first elimination on not Doomfist, who's been one of the only members to go back to spawn for the Everest, but right after that, Meridian Technical is quickly cleaned up by Panda Squad, Diamond Dog, and Pando, getting one of the final eliminations onto Daydream, and Soup is just going to go ahead and go off the map, courtesy of that boop on Pando. But honestly, it would have been better for them to reset anyway at that point. You definitely don't want to feed ultimates any more than you absolutely have to. Meridian Technical got the elimination onto Bonesaw. That could be huge with Big Boofus. Great job giving their team the opportunity that they might need to be able to push this cart past first corner. But it looks like that is all for naught as Chum's Fum, Diamond Dog, Pando, and even not Doomfist themselves pick up eliminations, and it looks like Pando's going to be the price. Again, falling to Big Boofus, one of the only bright spots on Meridian Technical right now, capable of sending the Everest back to spawn here. Things are not looking so well. What does Meridian Technical need to break this?
They definitely need to have a concise push with a dedicated target. Going with something like the pseudo dive that they are now with that Wrecking Ball, as well as the Moira and the Doomfist. You know, they have that three-man squad to dive onto something, but they have not been able to execute.
Bonesaw going to get that final elimination onto Daydream, and it looks like Meridian Technical has been sent back into spawn another time. It looks like they're not even going to get past, they haven't been able to make it past this first corner just yet. They have about 2 more fights to do it. Bonesaw is going to go ahead and take that high ground, or attempt to take the high ground with 50 HP. Going to dive in the back line on the King Swiffer, going to get that elimination. Panda Squad getting the elimination on Eternal Flame as well. ET Everest up 2, 1 only. Now we're even as Big Boofus gets the elimination onto Pando, and then the Nano Blade comes out. This might be it for this fight. If Panda Squad can get another elimination, they are unable to do that. But Soup gets the elimination on not Doomfist, and Panda Squad themselves is going to fall to the Daydream Coalescence, and this looks like it might be the Meridian Technical push that we've been waiting for, even though Big Boofus is going to fall to the Chum's Fum Diva Bomb. Bonesaw kind of running around, seeing what they can do, seeing if we can pick Soup on the ball that is on point, contesting right now. Fem Neptune hoping for the tire of the century here. Diamond Dog going to get the elimination on King Swiffer, not what you're looking for. Juktire is going to be unable to find anything, and Fem Neptune themselves is going to fall to Bonesaw as it just kind of ends up bodies being thrown on the point for the side of Meridian Technical. Panda Squad's going to pick up the elimination onto Eternal Flame and Soup, but immediately after that, Diamond Dog's going to take out Daydream, and it looks like those dreams for Meridian Technical capping first point on Gibraltar are all but shattered here, as the Everests have an amazing defense of that first point.
Yeah, we saw Meridian Technical finally get a solid push going when they actually had the ultimates and were playing together as the team. You know, they grouped up right by the door to the second floor, and they started engaging with their ults, even into so many of the ults of the Everest, and they were able to win that fight. But then once they started splitting up, you saw it all fall apart. The Everest, as you mentioned, just having a phenomenal defense there, but Soup was able to get a couple picks as that Wrecking Ball in the backline, but he had too many of his teammates following him, which led to the team being very split because they all couldn't keep up, and that led them to be picked off one after another. So now the Everest on the side of attack, not even having to make it to the first checkpoint on Gibraltar. This could be a very quick match unless Meridian Tech is going to have the defense of their life.
If you're Meridian Tech, what does it take to make the defense of your lives and hold ET Everest, the second place team, or the Fall Winter Rumble, into their spawn. What's it going to take?
You are either going to have to do something along the lines of the Boise State strategy, hold off to the side room, don't let them touch the cart, and you just keep pushing them out of it. Here it seems that they're going to go for a sneaky strat right by the spawn doors. Or you could just have a very strong double barrier defense with the Orisa Sig and like a Bastion just to have that very high output DPS. But it seems that their little cheeky strat is going to get scouted out immediately, and that could very much cost them around.
Up 3 almost immediately as their sneaky strat seems to fail. Their Diamond Dog, not Fem Neptune, going to get the elimination onto Panda Squad, which is what Meridian Technical's looking for here, but it's probably not going to be enough even as the second elimination on the Bonesaw comes up. Not Doomfist eliminating Daydream, and it looks like that might be it for Meridian Technical's defense there, as Soup is the only one on point. Big Boofus returning. It looks like there's the Lucio there as well. This might end up being a little bit, if we can get a couple of eliminations there, for the side of Meridian Technical, this might not be as one-sided as we initially thought. Big Boofus trying to pull the Roadhog, and it looks like Meridian Technical will be unable to hold the Everest in their spawn, which, I mean, unfair to expect a team to hold somebody in their spawn there. And the Esports, and for that first Esports Tower game, things are looking pretty not good for Meridian
Tech. The Everest played that very well, and Meridian Technical was just sadly not able to get there in time, so they will not be moving forward, sadly, in this Rumble. Well, so we have things to look forward to for the rest of this Rumble, though, as I do believe we're going to see the Fire Islands take on the Monsoons once again. Hopefully we've seen the Monsoons improve as much as the Fire Islands have, because the Fire Islands can definitely come out of this with a win tonight.
The Fire Islands and the Monsoons, we do know that the Fire Islands are the favored team there just because they have the more experience, but the Monsoons are approaching this with a very, very positive mindset. They're approaching this, their first Rumble, with the attempt to gain experience and do that sort of thing. They're not necessarily looking to compete in the championships, but that definitely wouldn't be something bad if it were to happen here. What are you expecting out of either team? Are there any players to watch, or are there any strategies you expect either team to come out with?
I really hope out of everything we see these teams have cohesive team plays and an idea or a goal to accomplish. So for a lot of these teams, especially the Monsoons being their second Rumble from last week, of definitely showing what they can do, I want to be able to have them say, all right, this was our goal and we met it in this way. Just getting those small accomplishments, even if you don't win the match, if you're able to say, all right, we wanted to go dive comp and dive this person, we did that, took them out. Oh, we may have lost, you know, the map, but we were able to accomplish it this one time. So that just means we're improving and learning each other. Then I would take that as a huge win for the team. Whereas on the side of the Fire Islands, you want to come out of this with a win because we know that they have the team and the individual play to the level of the Monsoons. So I hope we can see them improve and continue to grow so that they can start matching teams like the Everest and the Pink Panthers, because even the Everest have a ton of room to grow, and I think Fire Islands can catch up very quickly.
And the Fire Islands are looking to make their first grand finals with a win over the Monsoons tonight. We are joining this match in progress, so we already have seen the Fire Islands pick a map off of the Monsoons. This next map on Busan will be the determiner on whether or not we're able to do this. And actually, it looks like Game 2 will, in fact, be the Everests versus Meridian Tech here. Game 2 of the Everest versus Meridian Tech. We're going to go back there after that Gibraltar thing that did not go Meridian Tech's favor, but there were a couple of bright spots there. What's it going to take? How do you reset after a loss like that, Brenner?
Well, going into Busan, especially on control, you know, Escort can be such a hard map or hard mode to get through. If your cart just gets stuck, you're too far from the spawn and you just have to go through the constant gunfire of the defending team. It could allow you for control to just have more areas to get to the point. We're going to see Meridian Technical already just go straight on to the point with a definitely more hard defense with that Reinhardt. And losing the first main heals is not how you want to start things out.
You never want to lose the Baptiste first. Kudos to Panda for being able to pick that elimination up. And the other support for the ET Everest is going to pop off. Doomfist getting 2 eliminations, one onto the other support of Meridian Technical, and now Meridian Technical is completely out of this as Despacito picks some more eliminations up here, and Chum's Fum is going to get the final elimination onto Big Boofus, who is now swapped over to the McCree from the Roadhog. So there has been a couple of role swaps on the side of Meridian Technical, as Eternal Flame is going to get picked there by Not Doomfist, and it looks like the Everests are just going to go ahead and push forward right into Meridian Technical spawn. Big Boofus is going to get eliminated a second time by Despacito, and Panda Squad is just looking to see what damage they can do in the back line here.
Yeah, Meridian Technical playing pretty split apart, as we can see them just getting taken out by a few members. And I definitely know the pains of a main tank, as we see Panda Squad get a great duo with that pull spot. But Meridian Technical definitely needs to have a solid push out the gate with how close the Everests are holding them at the gate. They also have to be wary of the nano boost coming out from Not Doomfist, because here in Overwatch it's all about the ult economy, and right now Big Boofus just having that Deadeye usually will not be enough, especially if they're not going to be able to scout out Despacito in the backline. Just being able to scout out the whole team as they push forward. Great start by the Everests.
What does it take to break the spawn hold that Meridian Tech has currently found themselves in here?
Running Cage in a little right down the middle is not the best idea, especially if they're just going to get a 6-man EMP'd on.
Huge EMP by Despacito there. Not So Doomfist also getting that huge anti in there that was able to combo with the EMP. Diamond Dog is going to end up being the price there, but as a ball, they'll have a quick walk back to the enemy's spawn as we continue this hold here. And the ET Everest even have more ultimates on the board, but Meridian Technical is coming up, and that will change very, very soon. They'll almost have 6. What are you expecting here for ultimate usage to try to break this?
This is the time where you have to use it, because this could very well be the last team fight unless Meridian Tech can get to the point in time.
And it looks like as members are getting picked left, right, and center, Big Boofus with the elimination on the Not Doomfist, they are not even going to get to touch the point here. And it looks like the Everests are making a habit out of pushing forward into Meridian Technical spawn. What is going so well for the Everests right now?
They definitely know their team comp and their win condition of that team. We saw them play on that first map with Busan, a very high-speed team with the Sombra, the Tracer, as well as the Wrecking Ball and the Diva. They knew that if they just ran into the front line of Meridian Tech, they could get behind the Reinhardt and just start picking apart that very squishy backline. We saw that with the very first team fight of the Tracer going right on top of the Baptiste and wasn't even able to stay alive or use the Immortality field fast enough, or he might even have used it too soon and simply just got taken down without the help of his team. And that's definitely a huge issue we see with a lot of Reinhardts, is knowing when to put the shield down and start swinging the hammer, because if there's a Tracer in the backline, you can two-shot or dealing 75 damage with that hammer swing. So it's definitely great plays coming out from the side of the Everest, especially on the DPS roles. So we see Panda proving he's a DPS, getting the first elimination.
Daydream's going to go ahead and res that, but Despacito and Panda Squad are going to get some more eliminations. One of them from Panda Squad onto Soup again, freshly resed, and Panda Squad's going to go ahead and clean up Daydream on that Mercy as well, their comfort hero that they are very good at. And King Swiffer is going to be the final one to go down for Meridian Technical, and ET Everest are going to take that point. Are there other answers to flanking in the backline other than Reinhardt turning and swing?
Ideally, that's where the Cole Cassidy of Big Boofus comes in, able to stop that Tracer, as well as the other tanks just running them down, having the flashbang, buy yourself some time and get those headshots as a great dash in from that pulse bomb.
Always bad to be a bomb carrier for the enemy team. They did get the successful res on the Fem Neptune, but it doesn't really matter if the rest of your team is dead, and Meridian Technical is going to go ahead and get all the way back into spawn, except for Eternal Flame, who's going to be slept within their spawn. What ultimates are you looking for Meridian Technical to use to try to break this ET Everest hold?
The Diva Bomb will definitely give you the zoning capability so you can push out of the spawn, and then you want something along the lines of the Primal Rage to draw their attention in while the rest of your team can head towards the point, so you can have that fight on point. But already Meridian Technical is down.
Chum's Fum was unable to hit on the baby Diva, but they're able to get back into their mech. Fem Neptune going to get the elimination onto Pando, but with the eliminations immediately following after that with Eternal Flame, Fem Neptune, and Daydream all down to Chum's Fum, things are looking a little bit less like a Meridian Technical push than we want here.
Yeah, we saw Fem Neptune use that Primal Rage right at the tail end of that fight, but he just simply got focused down. That 1000 HP can only keep you alive for so long as another full spawn attempt comes in and will only demech.
King Swiffer going to get the elimination onto the now demeched Chum is Fun. Daydream going to get the res onto Soup, which is good, but might not necessarily be enough as Meridian Tech is coming up here with Eternal Flame getting immediately eliminated. Pando just going to go ahead and hold the cart with the Tranquility. Definitely understandable, trying to full cap this 99-0. Despacito, Diamond Dog, and not Doomfist going to get eliminations onto Daydream, Soup, and Big Boofus, and it looks like Meridian Technical might be out of this fight, especially as King Swiffer goes down and the Pulse Bomb comes out, unable to find anything there, and Meridian Tactical is just throwing bodies on the point, but they're running out of bodies to throw, which is always unfortunate to look at. And it looks like this first one will go to the Everests. Meridian Tech, definitely not the top of their game, but I believe they can turn it around in future Rumbles. This is not the last that we will ever see of Meridian Tactical. And the Everests, we saw them play at their best tonight. And so, you know, only going it alone can only go so far. Ultimately, if you want to increase your chances of success, you have to level up your teaming skills. We just saw that with the ET Everest and a dominating performance against Meridian Tech, and so you can see how talented they are. Esports Tower really takes the time to create teams of well-matched teammates. And I'd like to do a shout out to the coaches. And if those watching haven't checked out Esports Tower clubs yet, you should. It's a fast track to rank up. What went so right for the Everest that Meridian Tech couldn't even get out of their spawn? This is not an incapable team. The Everests had lots going for them there. Walk me through that.
Yeah, so we definitely saw the Everest proving why they have the better team play. They were matching the speed of the Tracer in the backline along with that Wrecking Ball and the Sombra for so long. And on top of that, their DPS could defend themselves very well. So even when Meridian Technical tried to dive the backline, they were able to defend it for so long. And at the same time, you have to look at the team composition of Meridian Technical was Daydream. Yes, they were on their main of the Mercy Buzz, really making the difference when Tracer just knew, all right, they're rezzing, I can go in with the Pulse Bomb, and now they're my bomb carrier, which is something we mentioned in that scenario. The Everests are definitely playing to their win condition of they have a very squishy backline. We have a squishy DPS line, but they can deal that glass cannon damage that we need to just break down kind of the stronger, sustainable team comp that was Meridian Technical. So the Everests just playing to their win condition and knowing their team comp definitely helped them win that match.
And this next match, we will be joining in progress, the Fire Islands versus the Monsoons. The Fire Islands are trying to make their first grand finals with a win over the Monsoons in our final group stage game of the night. So let's join them and see if the Fire Islands can get it done. They did pick up the win on map 1. They're looking to win this next map here in the best of 3 against the Monsoons. And the Monsoons are approaching this with, again, a very healthy mindset. They're looking at this through the lens of getting experience, figuring out what players want to play what roles, and figuring out who's good at what on what map. And in this case, it's Havana. What are some attacking and defending strats that are very effective on Havana?
We know for a fact that defending for Havana is going to be, you know, either close hold them at their spawn, as we see with the May and Cold Cassidy, or it's going to be hold them back through the giant long beginning a street of Havana with snipers, maybe a turret or a bastion to try to throw the enemy off, or even a Simbrel here. So if you're the Monsoons who are going for the attack with the double barrier, getting pushed right up against spawn is not what you want, because that's how you counter double barrier, is pushing right into them so that they can't just sit behind the barriers the whole time. So already Fire Islands off to a very good start. This is where you want to see the team comp of the Monsoons start changing drastically, because they're going to have to brawl right out the gate, and this team comp is not made for that.
What heroes would help them break this spawn hold?
Definitely a Reinhardt, so you could start swinging the hammer, maybe a May or even a Brig to assist that front line. I mean, this Hanzo can only poke from spawn so much, but he's still going to end up losing it, even having that advantage.
Lol is going to get the elimination onto Sunky. C-Square going to take down Sharumi's Immortality Field here. And the Monsoons cannot just get it together to go up against the Fire Islands here. Tonight seems like it's a night of spawn holds so far.
Yeah, they're only able to take down Radius Boss's Mechan already with the Shatter coming in. No elimination from it. Sadly, with that 200 damage, seems that they were just barely too far away. But hit Fire Islands getting a very clean fight there. Even the pin onto Barbecue, who in the Amplification Matrix coming out there. Definitely hard winning against the Monsoons. The Monsoons need to change things up here because their team comp isn't working. Yes, you have your ultimates, but what good are you, hey, unless you're going to press it. A great rock throw as well, just perfectly sniping Cole Cassidy from over the car. But this is the fight the Monsoons can easily win if they just push into the Fire Islands with their ults. They have all 5 so close to 6, and getting a pick like that so early on will do exactly as intended and let the Monsoons push up.
Definitely helps when Sunky gets the elimination, headshot no less on the Lol with the Storm Arrow. And now the Monsoons just need to start pressing Q because they're 5, almost 6 against nothing on the board for the Fire Islands right now. And there it is with the Sunky elimination on the Lucky Chew, and Sunky's going to go ahead and follow up on that with eliminations onto Radius Boss, Dragon Shadow, and Nox, not to be left out, is going to get the elimination onto Delirious, and the Monsoons have finally done it, went ahead and broken out of their spawn.
Yeah, it only cost them the 2 ults, so good on the team for having the reservation to save their other 3. So they do have the advantage going into a possible final fight, unless the Fire Islands are going to let them have it, but it seems that they won't, so now you're going to have all eyes on this May Blizzard.
And it looks like the Fire Islands are back for a full fight. This is not a scattered fight, as Lol is going to go ahead and eliminate BBQ and Waffle Man. Lucky Chew's going to go ahead and eliminate Shadow Soul, and it looks like things are not looking good for the Monsoons as they might be pushed all the way back to their spawn. The benefit of having pushed that cart so far, however, is that it's unlikely the Fire Islands will be able to hold all the way back up in their spawn again. And if they do, the Monsoons could potentially just flank around, and with very few meters to go between this next cart, they could get some value out of a flank.
Yeah, tried to kick things off with a great charge from Fire Islands, but will not land anybody. But now the Fire Islands have the ult economy in their favor with all 5, so they're just going to kick things off with the self-destruct.
And that does get the elimination onto C-Squared. Nox falling immediately after, and I gotta say that's probably it for this fight against the Monsoons, as Waffleman, Shadow Soul, Sunky, and BBQ all go down in very quick fashion immediately after that. That's usually what happens when you go down both of your sport, and that is an Esports Tower ace for the side of Fire Islands. And now the Fire Islands have put the Monsoons in last fight territory. They will have to desperately run to the cart and use whatever ultimates they can. Who are your targets here quickly as we set up for this next fight?
It's got to be Lol with that Cole Cassidy, and that's
well, there you go.
To see having that Deadeye, but opening things up with all of the ults. The Monsoons need to get more eliminations here.
And with the beat coming out in response to the Gravitic Flux, great job there. The elimination onto Lucky Chew from Waffleman. Nox is going to come up immediately after. Things are looking pretty even between both of the teams, as Sunky's going to get the next elimination onto Radius Boss, and things are looking a little bit less even for the sides of the Monsoons. And the ET Fire Islands are going to have to give up .1. And honestly, that's great. It was not looking in the very beginning like the Monsoons were going to be able to get this far, and we are super proud that they were able to do that and break that spawn hold on the Fire Islands, which is always a hard thing to do. As we set up on this second point, what's the defensive strat?
The defensive strat is definitely going to be play around that Shatter and Blizzard, because the Monsoons don't have anything to answer it because they used everything they had in the last fight.
Well, it's not going to take a Shatter or a Blizzard, but there are several eliminations coming out from Lucky Chew, Lol, and now Radius Boss with the eliminations onto Sunky, who's proven to be a bright spot for the Monsoons here on that DPS Hanzo role. And that's another Esports Tower ace, and they didn't have to use either one of their big ticket ultimates, so they can save those for next fight, as Lol's going to go ahead and set up for what looks like a sneaky flank.
Yeah, they got a minute 30 to hold out this point on the indoors, and the Monsoons still sticking to this team comp. We did see Waffleman swap over to the Junkrat to try to burn down those shields of the Fire Islands, and they can definitely do that, but they're going to have to watch out for this Diva. But Sunky getting the pick onto Lol is going to give them that leg up that they need.
Sunky's going to get the headshot onto Lol, which they've done every single fight that the Monsoons have been able to do anything. Eliminate Lol, you win game, is what seems to be the Monsoons' plan right now. And it's always Sunky that gets that elimination, as Lucky Chew's looking for the Shatter, not able to find it quite yet. Going to back up into the Immortality field, gets a little bit of a Shatter there onto 3 members of the team, one of them including Sunky. And they're going to get the charge kill onto Shadow Soul, but then promptly eliminated by none other than Sunky themselves. Barbecue's going to go down in quick fashion to Shroomy. Lol's going to pick up Sunky, finally getting back revenge for some of the times Sunky has logged them with Hanzo arrows. And then they're going to take that a step further and clean up with Waffleman, and it looks like that push for the Monsoons is done. What's the attacking strat on this second point, Havana, where there's only a limited amount of places where you can come in?
you definitely want to have the team composition that the Fire Islands have, having that Mei and the Cole Cassidy very close range can have the Lucio to speed right on top of the double barrier. Team of the Monsoons just want to play defense here because they have a very good defensive strat. But the Fire Islands are countering it very well, having just speed right on top of you through the barriers, and now you just have to brawl us, and the Hanzo is not going to succeed being so close range. But a great Deadeye is going to kick things off, which is why LOL's been targeted so early on every time.
Shroomi's going to get the elimination on a Waffle Man. Radius Boss is going to get the 2K Diva Bomb onto C Squared and Sunky. Amazing job. Dragon Shadow is going to pop that up with follow that up with Barbecue. Lucky Chew is going to eliminate Nox and Shadow Soul, and it looks like things are done for the Monsoons here. And honestly, getting 1.5 points on Havana is impressive because this is such a defensively oriented map that is absolutely not funny. There are Overwatch League teams that are unable to cap the 3rd point. If 2 teams are similar skill levels, it's incredibly difficult to even get this far. So now that the Monsoons are going to be moving to defense, what are you expecting from them?
I expect actually the same team comp, especially if the Monsoons are going to run that double barrier that they seem to be very comfortable, seeing as they never swapped off of it. So if they're going to continue to use double barrier, you know the Fire Islands are going to say, hey, if we go high speed, go right on top of them past the barriers, they're going to go into a full panic, and that's when the team fight, and we see the Fire Islands excel having that higher individual level. But at the same time, you have to watch out for the Monsoons having Sunky, who picks off LOL every single time, which led to them winning so many fights. So now you know who they're going to be targeting, and what the win condition of the Fire Islands is. Protect LOL, they'll get the value that they need, and we make sure Sunky doesn't get that early pick.
Do you think LOL would get the same amount of value if they played conservatively enough to not get constantly picked by Sunky?
I mean, not getting picked means you're already getting value because that's another body on the field to try to split up the target priority of the enemy team. So I definitely think if they are not able to keep LOL alive, the Fire Islands could stay in this spawn for a long time, but it seems the Monsoons want to go for a closer hold. They're just slow to get there in time, especially with Sunky on the Reaper now, who's been doing so well on that Hanzo. Oh, I'm very curious to see how this will play out, especially with the Reinhardt's meeting in the middle, but the Diva's definitely going to get way more value than that Sigma.
And it looks like the Monsoons attempted a close hold, but they're going to go ahead and back off instead of dying on the cart, which is not usually how you want to close hold, but if you're looking to further hold, which it looks like they're setting up to do, that is definitely the strat, as Nox's Immortality Field is the only elimination we've seen in chat so far, as both teams just kind of poke at each other and wait for somebody to make a mistake. As the wall goes up, Radius Boss is going to go in. They're going to find Sunky on that Reaper, and that's definitely never what you want as Diva, and they've been demeched instantly. LOL with the first elimination on the Waffle Man, melee kill on the Tracer, and Shroomi's Immortality Field is going to go down just before the Gravitic Flux. Radius Boss is going to go down immediately after that to Sunky, no less. Reaper will 9 times out of 10 win that Diva versus Reaper 1v1, and it looks like the Fire Islands are falling back to reset to get a more clean engage.
Yeah, BBQ charged that Gratific Flux very quickly. He did not lead to any eliminations, but it definitely sent the Fire Islands back to their spawn for a reset. So now Fire Islands are going to answer it with every ult that they have.
I don't think anybody was ready for the BBQ Gravitic Flux, but it looks like they're not willing to repeat the mistakes of the past, as they're going to eliminate them first. LOL looks to be the price for the Fire Islands there, but with Shroomi and Dragon Shadow getting eliminations onto C Squared and Nox, things are looking like they're going pretty well for the Fire Islands as they set up to position to full cap first point. Now the Monsoons have the choice of they can touch now with part of their team or fully reset on second point to defend.
Seems like they're going to see what the value the tire can get and then go in. That was a very nice try, but LOL getting that early pick in the backline means you don't have your artillery, and that will lead to your main tank falling.
LOL is going to try to pick up the elimination onto the Baptiste. And the Reinhardt is going to go down, which is never what you want to see. Lucky Chew's going to get the elimination onto Sunky. Radius Boss is going to get demech. Delirious is going to immediately get the elimination onto BBQ. LOL and Shroomi are also going to pull eliminations of their own. And Shroomi's going to go ahead and get another one onto C Squared and Waffle Man. And with that, the Fire Islands are able to cap point 1. And they only have about half the point to cap here. So if you're the Monsoons, what are you looking to do to set up to prevent the Fire Islands from winning? Oh.
They need to start playing to their team composition win condition, and having both a Reaper and Hanzo, it will definitely split up your target priority, because you know the Hanzo's going to be aiming for the backline, but the Reaper's trying to go in on those tanks, but Diva, not even in mech, will take down the Reaper, her. So already you lost your anti-tank being down a member for this next fight, and the Fire Islands don't even have, no, they're even with ults for the Monsoons, and Sunky's going to go over to that soldier, just try to take down both the Tracer and the Mei that quickly is not the best decision. So BBQ opening things up with Timid Flux. They have to pull out every stop here.
Radius Boss unable to get their self-destruct off just yet. Shadow Soul is going to get eliminated by Lucky Chew in the Battle of the Reinhardts. Radius Boss finally going to get that bomb online with the double kill, and then make that a triple kill, make that a quadruple kill. Radius is just going to go ahead and pop off so that the Fire Islands can go ahead and cap this point, and it looks like that will be the Fire Islands with a win over the Monsoons to make their first ever grand finals. Great job for them.
Yeah, that's exactly what we wanted to see from the Fire Islands. This huge leap in improvement and team comp understanding, so that when they go up against the Monsoons, they say, all right, here's what you're running, here's how we're going to counter that and run it ourselves. They had that man, the Diva, who were just uncontested for so long, and then when Lol swapped over to the Tracer, nobody on the side of the Monsoon said, hey, the Tracer's destroying our backline, let's go help them, rather than continuing to fight on the cart. I understand they were stalling for time at that point in time, but they had a whole 4 minutes once they got inside the building, so that's when you start trying to have a close hold, because the cart only had to get halfway through the building before the game was over.
And with that Fire Islands pretty well done, well executed win, let's go ahead and take a look at the standings after that final group stage. The Fire Islands have locked in their first ever grand finals appearance. And it looks like they'll be up against the Everest next. So right now we have the Everest first, the Fire Islands second, Meridian High School third, and the Monsoons fourth, which is nothing bad for them. They're a new team. They're looking for experience. They're trying to figure out what roles people are going to play. Meridian High School was trying to work on some individual thing to go up against the Everest. Third place is not something to feel bad about. And now we have the Fire Islands versus the Fire Islands in their first ever grand final appearance. And we're going to see if they can knock off the Everest in their grand finals. We'll find out after this break.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
this week's broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble in Overwatch. We're broadcasting live from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena as we head into our grand finals tonight in our first week for the Overwatch Renter Rumble. The Fire Islands have made their first ever grand final appearance. We're super excited, but they have a tough task ahead with the undefeated Everests, who have not lost a single map so far in this Winter Rumble. Can the Fire Islands pull off the upset that we're hoping for? I am your host, Colby D'Angelo Alloway, and joining me to call all of the action is Brenner Bear Ladd. And what does it take to climb the metaphorical mountain, Brenner, to beat the Everests? What are the Fire Islands going to have to pull out?
It's definitely going to have to be the team play to match the individual level of the Everest. We know the individual level of the Everest is next to unmatched, only ever losing to the Pink Panthers, who have been undefeated the entire time we've ever seen them. So now with the Everest taking that top spot and the Fire Islands having to contest it, we know that they can't win the 1v1s against the Everest based off last week. So now going into this week, it seems that they have improved their team play a ton. So they're definitely trying to take over that first place spot against the Everest. And so understanding their team comp going into this and having an idea of how to counter the team composition of the Everest is going to be a huge deal here. And hopefully we don't see them get stuck in the same roles like we saw with the Monsoons on that previous matchup.
And before we get to this amazing matchup of the Fire Islands versus the Everests, we want to take a moment to congratulate all of the Esports Tower club members who have graduated from clubs and have been offered scholarships across the country. Over the last 3 months, Esports Tower club members have received over $1.2 million in scholarship awards. These students have not only worked hard in their in-game play, but worked hard academically and have earned these scholarship opportunities. We could not be more excited and proud to see all of the opportunities these players are getting, especially because they work so hard for them.
Yeah, the more the merrier, so I'm glad to see more and more players always getting the extra scholarships and hopefully leading towards a bright future in esports, which we can easily showcase here as well, with these Rumbles being so many players' entry point into the esports scene.
And there are definitely a lot of keys to the game that can help them out, but some of the most important are Doc's keys to the game, which are presented by the Esports Tower. And in Overwatch, that is understand your comp / playstyle, focus on each fight, get good ult value, and the objective is greater than kills. And Doc's keys to the game are presented today by Esports Tower. Score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. And ranking up is exactly what the Everest and the Fire Islands are looking forward to here. They're both trying to win this grand final. It'll be the second time the Everests have been in the grand finals because they took the second place in the fall, but this is the first time the Fire Islands have ever been here tonight. And we know that team play is important. Are there any specific players that you're thinking the Fire Islands can kind of have carry them to victory?
I mean, you definitely want to keep eyes on LOL for the DPS role, especially with how well they did going up against the Monsoons. Sunky gave them a ran for their money, but if they can play a bit closer to their tank and a bit further back so they're not running in front of the shield to secure those kills, I believe that if they stay alive, they'll be able to carry their team to victory. But at the same time, they have to be able to protect the back line of their squishy supports, and I think that also will be a lot of eyes on the main tanks for the Fire Islands going up against the behemoth that is the Everest, who are undefeated. So you know the Everest are going to try to play their cheeky high-speed plays, Tracer in the back line, eliminate supports, dive right on top of them, and win the team fight. So going into this first map of these two kicking it off, I'm very excited to see how the Fire Islands might react to that, and hopefully we see them react to it in the correct way, which might even be changing up their team composition.
And so now it is finally time to kick off our first grand finals of the Winter Rumble seasons. The Everests have not lost a map in our first Rumble and won 2 grand finals last season. The Fire Islands are making their first ever grand final appearance and hope to send Shroomy, who joins the Everests next week for our next Rumble, out with a win. This first map on Havana, do you have any predictions for either teams on attack or defense?
Yeah, here on Dorado, I expect to see a lot of who can control the roofs on this first point, because we can already see the Everests were all up on the roof. So they're playing that high-speed comp, and the Fire Islands have to be able to match that. So it's going to be hopefully a near mirror match, actually, just so these teams can constantly battle with the different verticalities.
And the coaches have told us that both Delirious and Frozen Phoenix have greatly improved their communication in-game in the past couple weeks. So we'll be looking to see some amazing performance from from Delirious on the Brigitte from the Fire Islands. And it doesn't look like Frozen Phoenix is in right now, as Bonesaw is going to go ahead and get that Helix elimination on the Lol, who occasionally plays in positions that get them picked, but they also get more eliminations than possibly anybody else on that team. Panda Squad going to go ahead and get the elimination onto both Shroomy and Delirious, and Bonesaw is going to get the elimination on Lucky Chew, and it looks like the Fire Islands are kind of out of this fight and need to reset for the next one, as Dragon Shadow and Radius Boss are going to be cleaned up shortly after. Panda Squad on a rampage on that Tracer. How do you counter a Tracer? Are there any specific heroes that you're looking for the Fire Islands to pull out to do so?
I mean, you definitely want to have Lucky Chew be on top of it the whole time. You call out what the Tracer is, and you want to see him diving on top of it. But of course, the go-to counter to a Tracer will be that Cole Cassidy with the flashbang. But kicking things off with the nano sights is not good for the Fire Islands.
And Bonesaw is going to get the elimination onto Radius Boss, Delirious, and Lucky Chew. And they're going to go ahead and just melee kill Dragon Shadow, the People's Elbow over there with an amazing visor that is going to send the Fire Islands back into spawn. But they have Nano Blade. How are they looking to use it this next fight?
You want to target those high ground targets that's just been taking you down. You know, Bonesaw on that soldier has just been uncontested, raining down as much damage as it can. But at the same time, you, being that Genji, it's okay to sometimes not engage and hold back so you can protect your squishies when a Primal Rage Winston jumps in your back line.
And Diamond Dog's going to find nobody off the edge of the map, which is what they were looking for with the Primal Rage. Lol's going to get the Pulse Bomb kill onto Pando. Radius Boss is going to get demeched by Bonesaw. Panda Squad's going to go ahead and pull that out of eliminate Radius Boss there, the Baby Diva. And Lucky Chew, somebody get Lucky Chew off your Ana. They're going to go ahead and eliminate Not Doomfist. Dragon Shadow's going to pick up Bonesaw. Diamond Dog and Chum is Fum are going to pick up eliminations for the Everest, and Lol is going to answer with one of their own for the Fire Islands. And the cart is moving with a single person on there for the Fire Islands here.
Yeah, Dragon Shadow taking up the attention of the other two remaining members of the Everest is exactly what you want from a Genji, as Lol takes out Diamond Dog in the back line. Losing that main tank can definitely set them back, but if you're as good as a team as the Everest, you know that they're still going to be in the fight, only with 5 members going up against 6. So kicking things off with the Pulse Bomb will not lead to elimination for Lol, surprisingly, but instead Shroomy will take down Panda Squad. So now heading into this next one with Raleigh is a good start.
Delirious up in there, swinging all up on the front lines. Lucky Chew just trying to stay out of it. Radius Boss is going to get demeched by Lucky Chew. Delirious is going to get the elimination onto Chum is Fum. Excuse me, Chum is Fum is going to get demeched there, not Radius Boss. And Delirious is going to eliminate them. Bonesaw is going to go ahead and try that attack visor, but I'm not quite sure what he's looking at here, as his entire ultimate is almost going to run out before he's able to actually shoot on anything. Not able to find any ultimate value, goes immediately back into that fight on that Genji. The Genji's going to go ahead and get away from him, as we're back to Lucky Chew, who's been slept amazing sleep by Not Doomfist there. They're just going to go ahead and avoid that monkey if they can and eliminate Lol. Dragon Shadow's going to get the elimination on the Panda Squad. Lucky Chew on Not Doomfist, and Diamond Dog's going to finally pick up Shroomy in the back line. Chum is Fum is going to Diva Bomb Dragon Shadow, who is in the middle of Genji blading. Always feels bad there. Diamond Dog is going to eliminate Lucky Chew. Radius Boss is going to get demeched and eliminated by Chum is Fum and Diamond Dog, and it looks like that is it for the Fire Islands' first push. Things are looking a little bit sketchy here, as they did not manage to completely cap that .1. If you're the Fire Islands, how do you defend against the Everest when you couldn't cap first point?
I mean, you definitely want to take a couple notes from them of how they defended. They had the 4 members in the front, and then they had the 2 in the back of the Soldier and the Ana providing as much support as they can. Because as soon as the Fire Islands pushed around the corner, they just started getting all of the damage from that Soldier on top of the Ana healing in case they tried to body block and take some of her damage. So now with the Fire Islands on the defense, you want to see them hold that corner and also utilize the roofs like the Everest did with the Winston Diva. So I expect this to very much still be a very close or near mirror match between these two teams, but with the Everest running that Soldier and the Fire Islands running that Genji blade, you have to wonder how much value did they get in comparison to one another. You know, one nanoed the Soldier, who got a double or triple. He got a triple, I believe. And then you see the Genji, he get nano bladed, and then he got 1, maybe 2, and the second time he did it, he just got eliminated immediately to the Diva Bomb. So you have to think, all right, so that didn't work. Maybe it'll work on attack or defense. We'll have to try it for a little bit. But if they lose it quickly, they need to make that change quickly. Even if you're 50% to ult, that's something you have to give up because it is simply not working. And kicking things up with the Junkrat to try to lob the nades into it is a great start, but you have to protect that back line.
Bonesaw and Panda Squad going to come out as Bastion and Symmetra, 2 players for the ET Everest that have been highlighted not only by us, but by the coaches as exceptional players that have improved a lot these past couple weeks. So we'll go ahead and see what they can do with the Bastion Sim strat. It looks like it's sneaky as Pando's going to go ahead and get the elimination onto Lol. Mid-air, no less, and Bonesaw is in your backline as Bastion. Not something you want to see if you're the Fire Islands, but it looks like they're going to get him low enough. He's on your brig with Pando there to support. Pando's going to get the final elimination onto Delirious. Lucky Chew's going to get the elimination onto Diamond Dog, but that does not look like it is slowing the Fire Islands down at all right now, as Pando is playing the attack frog with more eliminations than anybody so far in this fight, as Chum is Fun picks up the final one onto Radius Boss off the cusp of a lot of Pando's Lucio damage. And it looks like we have that Bastion set up on the high ground by Panda Squad on the Symmetra, and things are not looking good for the Fire Islands.
Fire Islands are going to have to trickle in here if they want to stay alive in this matchup, but it seems that will come to an end. Fire Islands lost that first team fight and couldn't regroup to bring it back in time, and the Everest constantly winning those 1v1s from them just trickling in, not having enough time to regroup and have a solid team push. So well played by the Everest, knowing their win condition of we have the better individual play, so let's just run into them, constantly take those 1v1s and stagger them the best we can. They succeeded.
In the backline is not usually where you want the Bastion, and you definitely don't want them in the backline on the high ground camping your spawn, which is a position that Dorado allows very uniquely. So that was an amazing job by Bastion and Symmetra. Bonesaw on the Bastion, getting behind, doing the things. And Pando, I just gotta say, amazing job on the attack frog there. You were everywhere on everybody. Is there anybody that you'd like to highlight or any strategies that you thought were great for Dorado?
I mean, behind every great Bastion is Panda Squad on that Symmetra, teleporting where he needs to be and being the support that he needs, even though she is no longer a support. We still love Symmetra for the amount of damage she can output and how much of a presence she can be on the battlefield that people just have to start focusing her. But at the same time, she's going to win those 1v1s because she has that highest DPS. So huge shout out for Panda Squad as well.
A Symmetra with a level 3 beam is terrifying. Is there do you expect more Symmetra strats to be run in the future by the ET Everests?
I would hope so, just with how well the Sim Brawl strats do, even in the higher elos and even the lower elos for that matter, because so many people have an issue of who to target focus. You know, the Symmetra's dealing all the damage, but the Reinhardt or the Diva or whoever the off tank is protecting that Symmetra with the shield. So do you burn through them, but at the same time you want to target the backline because there's the squishy medic keeping everybody alive through your constant poke. So it's a huge issue that we see a lot of teams have a problem with the target focus, which that's why we see teams like the Everests who run that tracer, the high speed to dive in on those targets. They make the call and then they're able to execute and win against a Sim Brawl, which is the huge risk of running it.
Panda Squad on the tracer was an absolute menace, just as they were on the Symmetra. And as we go on to Numbani, are there any strategies you're expecting on here for this first point defense? What are some of your favorite things to run or see on first point?
It would definitely be to have, just like the Everest defended, 2 members up top and the other 4 being able to jump around and match wherever the attackers are going to push. So having something like a Torb on it to have the turret be a split focus on top of the Torbjorn, who also recently got buffed with his right click of the shotgun not using as much ammo. So I could also see that being a strat, but seeing the Everest on attack with the Bastion this time around is something that the Fire Islands are going to have to adapt to very quickly and jump right on top of, so that the Bastion is not able to burn down your tanks as quickly. So now the Fire Islands,
Bastion Symmetra.
they do have the Genji though, so hopefully that counter will be able to happen. Genji can just get right in the Bastion's face, press E, and he'll just murder himself with the deflect. But losing Shroomy so early on might be the death of the Fire Islands defense.
The first two picks you don't want to happen are your supports, and that's exactly what happened for the Fire Islands there. Shroomy and Delirious, Liana and the Brig went down first, and that's never what you want to see. Great job by the Everest for keeping them off guard, and it looks like that's going to be a pretty clean fight win, and Bonesaw is considering setting up on the payload, but not quite going to do that. I think their Panda Squad has deserved a little bit of a dance emote there. Not sure if that was entirely intentional. As the cart is going to get set up, how do you stop a Bastion on the cart if you're the Fire Islands? Or not even on the cart, teleporting around?
This is something you want to be able to go dive for and have that high speed and verticality, the mobility to keep up with him. If he's teleporting back and forth, you want to have the burst damage to kill that teleporter and then be able to jump right on top of him, as they exactly did. So that was picture perfect for the Fire Islands. Of they recognized, hey, Bastion's an issue, let's all go on top of him. He can't kill all of us. And so that's exactly what they did, especially with the Genji of all counters. But losing him so early on might be an issue.
Lol with the hacks in the back line onto your Bastion with the first elimination, and then on to Pando with the immediate elimination after that. Eliminating the Baptiste is a big deal. Not sure if it's going to be enough here as the Everests clean up. Panda Squad goes 1 for 1 with Delirious. Lol going to get that second elimination. Lol, one of the amazing bright spots on that Sombra for the Fire Islands. They're going to go ahead and get eliminated by Diamond Dog, but not before getting 2 eliminations of their own, and it looks like the Everests are going to go ahead and get this to the final point here, the final stretch.
Yeah, so already we can see the Genji doing his job, diving right into the Bastion and even finishing off with the dash, being that +1. This is where we want to see the Fire Islands engage and start taking space.
What is it about Genji that makes him such a good Bastion counter?
Definitely the deflect, because of Bastion's just having his point and click adventure. If you can deny the click part of it, then he will end up killing himself with it. So Radius Boss already having to go for the reset. It does have the spawn advantage, so the Fire Islands playing a little bit further back, losing that off tank and support as well. The Brig not working too well with this comp, so I would hope to see that change, but now that they have the rally, you know they're never going to give it up. So this is where we want to see everybody press Q, and that's exactly what the Everests do.
Big hack. Big hack onto the Bastion. Nobody there to capitalize on it, which is unfortunate. And it looks like Dragon Shadow is going to go on the rampage with the blade elimination. Panda Squad and Pando, which might be enough here, especially as not Doomfist follows them immediately after. Dragon Shadow is going to get eliminated themselves by Bonesaw in the tank form, but Wall is going to quickly pick up that elimination, and it looks like the Everests are not capping this point just yet, but with 4 minutes and 39 seconds, you gotta imagine that they have a pretty good shot here. If you're the Fire Islands, though, how do you hold this final point for 4 minutes and 30 seconds?
Well, you got to be ready for this Tracer, and being down Lol, who's been the star player of the Fire Island so early on, is not good, because that's your best DPS. So now you're going to have to watch out for Bonesaw on this Tracer as Dragon Shadow goes down, kicking things off. So both DPS have been taken out so early.
And it looks like Pando is going to go down for the side of the Everests, but with Shroomy, Delirious, Lol, and Lucky Chew all following them immediately to the grave, you gotta imagine that the Everests are gonna get this, because the Fire Islands are kind of running out of bodies to put on the point as Radius Boss and Shroomy get eliminated a second time. Dragon Shadow does the same. Delirious just trying to get to the point. They are unable to do so. The Fire Islands popping out with that ball. Lucky Chew unable to do very much there. And with 3 minutes and 46 seconds on the clock, that's about 50 seconds that they were able to stall there just through that fight. So that's a nice stall. It's unfair to expect most teams to be able to go in for the 4-minute, 30-second stall.
Yeah, they were definitely not ready for the Tracer swap, but a very good team fight here for the Fire Islands, the second to last, kicking things off with that EMP to cancel out both the amplification and that Bastion turret form. So now going on to the Fire Islands attack side, they were able to answer that Bastion really well, because it was the entire heart and soul of the Everest team comp was that Bastion, so they just went full anti-Bastion with the Sombra Genji. But as soon as they swapped it over to the Tracer for Bonesaw, they were not able to answer and got taken down so early on. Delirious was the counter there, but he was not able to answer the aggressiveness of the Tracer, just getting taken apart by the rest of his team. So now in the defense with the Hanzo, we can already see be scattered out a little bit. You know they're going to play a bit further back, but they have to be ready for, you know, any Chica cheeky Symmetra plays. That might just be, we're going to teleport right on top of the point and you have to fight us on our terms, because that's what you want from the attackers. Is you want to take the fight on your terms. You're going into the defender's house, so rather than fighting them where they're comfortable, you want to put them on their off foot. So I believe the Fire Islands can definitely do this with how well they defended against the Everest in that team fight. We know they have the team play capabilities, not so much the individual play, especially now that they don't have the win condition of we take down Bastion, we can win this team fight, because now they're going into the defense and the Everest aren't bringing back a Bastion.
How do you go up against the Hanzo Junkrat defense? What is the best play here?
Well, it's definitely going to be all around the Diva of Radius Boss to try to eat up as much as he can and deny their damage capabilities, as well as the dive tank. But losing their Winston so early on, not having the backup support, is definitely a huge issue.
It looks like Radius Boss is going... officially the Fire Island's first fight, as Lol on the Echo is going to go over there, poke the point, and then immediately get eliminated by Panda Squad, who's also a menace on the Hanzo. They're just a menace on every single DPS that they play.
Yeah, Panda Squad definitely playing the better DPS right now. Lol tried to get the peak and wasn't able to.
Shroomy going to get eliminated by Panda Squad, but Panda Squad is going to pay for that with their life and get promptly eliminated by Lucky Chew, and then Radius Boss is going to get taken out by Diamond Dog separately. Bonesaw getting the elimination onto Lol, and it looks like that's going to be middle of the fight. Fire Islands are being pushed back into their spawn as Bonesaw is going to try to take some space here, up with Diva to back him up. Looks like things are getting a little bit sketchy there, but Delirious does get eliminated by the Primal Rage, so that'll definitely help them. Bonesaw setting up probably for their tire of their lives as this next fight comes in, waiting around the corner for somebody really unfortunate to walk around. Panda Squad does have that Hanzo arrow, so we'll see if they decide to use that. Bonesaw going to get taken out by Lol on that flank there, trying to be sneaky. And the Everests have an ult disadvantage now that Bonesaw is in spawn and unable to use their ultimate.
Yep, this is where we want to see the Nano Blade come out.
There it is.
Straight past the double dragons, but they're going to have to use the beat to survive it. So now all eyes are going to be on the Fire Islands of who they're able to poke down, and they're not able to get the Ana.
Fire Islands were not able to get value out of the Nano Blade or the Echo Duplicate, and I think that was probably going to be what ends up losing them this fight, as they are down 3, and it looks like Shroomi's going to go down, and they're down 4, 5. It looks like their whole team is going to be eliminated here.
This is where you want to see them just completely change up their comp. We've seen that the tanks are working decently, but they're not having the backup that they need or the target priority to get the eliminations that they need to win the fight. So now with Lol going over to the Widowmaker to try to get an early pick, they're still not going to win, because we've seen the Everest win a 5v6 situation, especially with Bonesaw getting a tire in the back line onto a support and a deeps.
You never really want the enemy's fight to start out with a double elimination on your side. Bonesaw's going to get those death mines onto Dragon Shadow, which always feels so good if you're playing Junkrat, just to get eliminated and then immediately drop your mines at the enemy's feet. And now the attacking side is put into last fight territory with 32 seconds left on Numbani here. Who's the first person that they should be targeting if they want to win this next fight?
Definitely one of the healers, mainly the Ana if you can. And Pando somehow wins the sniper battle against Lol,
versus Lol,
which is as sideways as it can be. So you just know from that alone that they need to change things up, and Lol's been the only one to do so.
Panda Squad getting the elimination onto Shroomy, so not quite the Ana that you were talking about, but an Ana nonetheless. And with Pando down for the side of the Everest, it looks like they're not even going to be able to touch the point, and it looks like Numbani is going to go ahead and go to the Everests there. Want to be seen by expert college recruiters, talk directly to esports industry insiders like pro athletes, team general managers, and game producers? Then join the club. Esports Tower players get insider access to industry insights with our featured rumbles. Recruiters are taking notice too. It's a great way to score. It's a great way to score professional advice and rank up. And as we go into this next matchup, What do the Fire Islands have to do to wrench this from the seemingly indomitable Everests?
They definitely got to flex on their variability and change up their team compositions, or even mid-match. We saw with their next to final push, they had like a minute 30 on the board, used up their ults, didn't get any value even with the Nanoblade, and then nothing changed except for Lol going over to the Widowmaker, who got picked off pretty early on, like every team fight following that. But none of his other teammates changed when they desperately needed to. The break was not going to work there because they were not taking the team fights or having the front line, and she couldn't keep up with either of the tanks to keep them alive. We saw the same issue with the Ana getting dived in the backline, or Bonesaw never being scouted out, getting a ton of tire value onto the two team members as well. So Fire Islands needs to start checking their corners and be able to change up their roster every so often, especially when it's not working.
Are there any specific players you want to highlight on the Everest side? Because half of this equation, and part of the reason they're so indomitable, is individual skill.
I mean, we talk about Bonesaw the most because they are
That's
the DPS player who gets highlighted the most, but I definitely want to talk about the tanks of Diamond Dog as well, who's been able to lead that charge, especially as the Winston. When you're jumping on top of somebody, you're calling the target, and your team's able to execute on that. But at the same time, you want to throw it over to the Ana of the Everest, who just never got touched. It was not Doomfist, and even when they were able to constantly win those from the 1v1s as an Ana, no less. So I think that just speaks to the individual skill level of that player.
And it looks like we're going to go ahead here. And for this next map, strategies, are there any specific heroes you expect out of both of these teams?
Ideally, something along the lines of a Cole Cassidy or Reaper or Doomfist. This first point on Oasis is a very close hold. We see a lot of Wrecking Balls as well, because people like to hold the high ground first, win the team fight, then jump down and continue that brawl after winning. So now Bonesaw bringing out the Ashe, you know there's going to be playing for that Dynamite.
And it looks like this first fight is pretty even, slightly in the Everest's favor here as Panda Squad eliminates Shroomy, which is never what you want to see. Diamond Dog, one of the players you highlighted earlier, is going to get that immediate elimination onto Lucky Chew and survive to tell about it. Radius Boss and Delirious are both going to pick up eliminations onto the Everest. And this is looking like anybody's fight right now as the Fire Islands try to take it. Lol's going to go ahead and go down to Pando, the attack frog on that Lucio again. Delirious is going to go down as the break again, and we got to assume at this point it's time for a hero swap, as Chumas Fum is going to pick both them. Radius Boss, Panda Squad's going to pick up Shroomy again, being an absolute menace that we know that they are on the Tracer. But Dragon Shadow is going to take out not Doomfist, which is their Ana, which is never what you want to see. Panda Squad finally going to lose the battle of the Tracers to LOL after eliminating almost an entire team's worth of Fire Islands. And it looks like that first point is going to go over to the Everest after a pretty balanced fight, honestly. There was give, there was take. Everybody was eliminated almost at least once.
Yeah, and at the same time, you mentioned that halfway through that fight, this is where we want to see comp swaps, because you tried it first. You need to change it up, and Fire Islands haven't. If anything, this is the comp that we've seen them run the most, except for Lol's the only one willing to change, but they're doing well on the Tracer, so we don't want to see that change. We want to see the change happen with the supports and Dragon Shadow with this Genji. They have the Blade and now the Nanos online, so you want to see the Fire Islands regroup and go into this next team fight with the Nanoblade leading the charge. You want to go straight onto that Ashe, who doesn't have a ton of getaway other than the Coach Gun. And now Lol getting the Pulse Bomb onto Diamond Dog. That's your opener.
That is huge. Lol's going to go ahead and get eliminated for that and have this fight be even. On the Genji Blade approach, where do you want to hit? Like, you want to hit the Ashe, but how do you get there?
You want to take top ground control. Starting up at that top window is a great start, but interesting bomb placement.
Nanoblade's going to go ahead and eliminate Bonesaw anyway on that Ashe and not Doomfist on the Ana. Pando is going to finally get the Attack Frog elimination onto Dragon Shadow. The Nanoblading Genji, how does he do it? I definitely don't know, but I'm excited that Lucio is appearing in the chat so often. Lucky Chew's going to go ahead and get that elimination onto Diva. Lol searching for the Tracer on the point. Everybody's searching for the Tracer on the point because she's pretty sneaky. As Ana's going to go ahead and return, get that anti. Panda Squad's finally going to eliminate Delirious again, and I cannot emphasize enough how little that Brig is working for them, but then it's going to go ahead and get eliminated by the Monkey on the point. Lucky Chew's going to go ahead and pop their ultimate, try to get some percentage, try to get the point, try to maybe flip the point here. And it looks like as we go into 99 99-0 territory, there is no fight reset that can happen. The fight reset should have happened earlier, as Panda Squad and Bonesaw are going to get eliminations onto Lucky Chew, Dragon Shadow, and now Radius Boss with a headshot. Very clean onto the Baby Diva, looking for that Ana. Bonesaw's coming for your whole team. Panda Squad not to be outdone. Eliminates again Delirious, and LOL's going to be the final member to go down on the side of the ET Everest, and that is 0.1 of control. 100-0 pretty easily in the Everest's favor. What do we want to swap that Brig for, Brenner?
Anything? I mean, for this kind of hybrid dive-ish style that the Fire Islands are trying to go for, they should have kept that point as well so much earlier on, but that Tracer just bought them way too much time for the Everest, and I think that's something that the Fire Islands definitely should work on. Is it's one Tracer remaining, and by the time Lucky Chew eliminated them, the rest of the team was back alive, and at the same time LOL couldn't take out the other remaining Ana because he got slept. So just, again, speaking to the skill level of now to Doomfist on that Ana. So now swapping the Brig out for hopefully anything, but at the same time, now that the team comp is swapped, you could see a Brig happen, but ideally you want the Batiste because he has that jumping capabilities on top of the Immortality field. So I'm glad to see Delirious changing up at least to the Lucio. We'll see if he'll be able to match the just behemoth that is Panda.
Panda Squad getting that elimination on the Lucky Chew is very, very huge. Pando gonna get the elimination on the LOL. Cannot emphasize how artfully that had to have been done for Pando to get the elimination onto the Cole Cassidy of all people. Bonesaw going in and out on the Doomfist as they please. Radius Boss is gonna go ahead and get demeched. Not Doomfist's Immortality field is going to go down. Bonesaw is going to eliminate LOL, but then immediately get eliminated by Lucky Chew and Revenge. Not Doomfist is going to go ahead and pick up Delirious. And Pando, yet again, is popping up against Radius Boss on that Baby Diva.
Yeah, right now Fire Islands are going up against the 3 DPS of the Everest, with Pando just going on a tear. So all eyes are going to be on LOL for this Cold Cassidy to try to take down Panda, or at least stun him to prevent any of the utility that he's been providing. So opening things up with the Amplification Matrix, zoning out the Fire Islands into Bonesaw on this Doomfist is how you want to play it.
And it looks like Bonesaw is going to go ahead and get several eliminations there as they're unable to counter them. Diamond Dog, not to be outdone, is going to pick one up. And, you know, we always see Pando with the last elimination onto Radius Boss there. Pando, the attack frog. And it looks like the ET Everest, while having 46% on the point, they're also at a massive ultimate advantage. What are we expecting out of this fight?
Everybody need to start pressing Q, and it seems Panda Squad's going to kick things off with their pulse bomb, but not get anything. Instead, a 4-man shatter.
Not Doomfist is going to eliminate LOL and Dragon Shadow, huge. You always want to see your Baptiste getting picks. Pando, not to be outdone with as the support DPS in the chat, is going to eliminate Lucky Chew, and Delirious is also going to fall. And it looks like the Fire Islands are being put in last 2 fight territories as the point hits 70%. They have 1 full team fight and then 1 scattered fight if they go now. Diamond Dog looking a little bit caught out here as they back up.
What you love to hear if you're the Everest is the high new come out and immediately get canceled, winning their 1v1s as the Everest with so many ults coming out here. Fire Islands need to press Q, who as Shroomy still has theirs.
Each Diva Bomb's going to go ahead and get one on the Diamond Dog and Dragon Shadow. Pando going to get the boop off of the edge on the Radius Boss, not let them get back in their mech. Shroomy is going to get eliminated, and Not Doomfist is going to pick up Delirious, and it looks like that is just it for the Everests. The Fire Islands were unable to even touch the point that round. A dominating victory from the team that has been so dominant this whole time. I mean, there's a reason they haven't dropped a map. They're all amazing.
Yeah, the Fire Islands still have a ton of room to improve, but they did very well. We saw them win a couple team fights, just not able to cap the point in time. So I think that's where they can improve, is getting those last few stragglers, having that target priority of saying, all right, who's the last person on the point that is contesting all of this, spread out, take them down so that they have nowhere to run. Whereas on the side of the Everest, they played to perfection on their end, to where they knew constantly what they were going for, which is, we beat this team on individual plays, so let's play to that and just constantly dismantle their strong team play that they were going up against. So I think both teams played to the best of their abilities, and I hope to see the Fire Islands improve so that hopefully we will be able to see them next week take a map off the Everests.
On the topic of strong individual play, who are you looking to highlight for the ICCU player of the game?
Personally, I would say not Doomfist, just because they were the Ana in the backline who never got touched, and when they did, they were winning that 1v1 against whoever dove on them. But at the same time, it's hard not to highlight people like Pando and Bonesaw who are just dominating the kill feed, especially Pando, who is a Lucio no matter and probably had bronze eliminations for his team. I'd be so curious to see what that looked like on his scoreboard, but I have to give it to one of the two supports of the Everests.
And Pando is an exceptional Lucio player, and Lucio just in general is an exceptional duelist hero, which Pando used to great effect. Though I do have to agree with you on the not Doomfist doing so much on the Ana for their team, getting the eliminations, getting all the heals, especially under the amount of pressure that they were on constantly. So I would have to say that that would be my nomination for the player of the game. Are there any DPS that you would like to highlight? And you can't say Bonesaw.
Well, I mean, his co-equivalent of Panda Squad, as well as we're seeing in the highlight here, who will end up getting it as well, because this Tracer was constantly going into the Cole Cassidy of either team of Meridian Technical or the Fire Islands and coming out of it with a win or 1v1ing other Tracers. He lost it maybe once or twice, but won it every single other time, having the target priority, taking down the main healer at the start of almost every team fight going up against Meridian Technical. You know Panda Squad was popping off tonight. So congrats to Panda Squad.
Panda Squad is one of the best Tracers we've seen in Esports Towers so far. And the player of the game is brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful. Just like Idaho Central's helping members achieve financial success, Panda Squad is the Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game. And they definitely made their team more successful. We don't say that they're the best Tracer in the league lightly, as they go ahead and make Daydream, one of the best Mercies in the league, into a bomb carrier onto Big Boofus for Meridian Tech. You could honestly, every time we see Panda Squad play, you could make a highlight reel of whoever they're on, but Tracer continues to be their most dominant performance.
Yeah, especially when you're just that good at something, that's what you want to keep pursuing. It's always nice to branch out, but if the Tracer's getting uncontested and getting value, why swap off of it in the first place? Which is something that I think a lot of people should learn, that it's okay to swap off every so often, and especially if you are losing. But in that winning situation, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So good on Panda Squad for tonight's victory.
As we prepare to close out this match, are there any big takeaways that you have?
Fire Islands, you can definitely take a map off the Everest. We saw you win a couple team fights against them. We know you can do it. You just need to be able to let go of your selected champions and play some others that might be able to counter each other. So hopeful for the future for you.
Gotta say, LOL also deserves a shout out. But congratulations to all the teams on a spectacular showing in our first Winter Overwatch Rumble. The Everests continue to look like the team to beat after another Grand Finals win. The Fire Islands showed massive improvement from the fall, making their first Grand Finals, and Meridian Tech looks to be on the right track, just barely missing out on a Grand Finals appearance. The Monsoons looked great in their debut Rumble, and with continued practice, they can quickly close the gap between themselves and our more veteran competitors. Make sure to join us next Tuesday at 6 p.m. EST for the second week of our Winter Rumble right here on the Boise State Twitch channel. We'll close out with the top 5 presented by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. With more than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for, the Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Thanks for watching. Meridian Technical spawn. Big Goofus is going to get eliminated a second time by Despacito, and Panda Squad is just looking to see what damage they can do in the back line here.
Yeah, Meridian Technical playing pretty split apart. As you can see them just getting taken up by a few members. And I definitely know the pains of a main tank, because we see with a great charge from Fire Islands, but will not land anybody. But now the Fire Islands have the ult economy in their favor with all 5, so they're just going to kick things off with the self-destruct.
And that does get the elimination onto C-Squared. Nox falling immediately after, and I gotta say that's probably it for this fight against the Monsoons, as Waffleman, Shadow Soul, Sunky, and BBQ, the Fire Islands. And it doesn't look like Frozen Phoenix is in right now, as Bonesaw is going to go ahead and get that Helix elimination on the Lol, who occasionally plays in positions that get them picked, but they also get more eliminations than possibly anybody else on that team. Panda Squad gonna go ahead and get the elimination onto both Shroomy and Delirious, and Bonesaw's going to
see him diving on top of it. But of course, the go-to counter to a Tracer will be that Cole Cassidy with the flashbang, but kicking things off with the nano sights is not good for the Fire Islands.
And Bonesaw's gonna get the elimination onto Radius, Boss, Delirious, and Lucky Chew, and they're gonna go ahead and just melee kill Dragon Shadow, the People's Elbow over there.
Backup that they need, or the target priority to get the eliminations that they need to win the fight. So now with Lal going over to the Widowmaker to try to get an early pick, they're still not going to win because we've seen the Everest win a 5v6 situation, especially with Boneside getting a tire in the back line.